All right, Stephanie, you want to lead us through a goofy icebreaker?
I do. So I know the theater people in the house are ready for this, and everyone else is gonna have to just jump in and join some theater wackiness. There we go. I love the yay, some theater clapping. Um, this is just a way to sort of break up Zoom stare and get some conversation flowing. So I'm gonna need some partners. So I'm just gonna pick some people, maybe by volunteer the first time. I'm gonna need somebody who feels comfortable speaking gibberish and somebody who likes to type. So who would like to speak gibberish this very first time? I will pick on you at random should nobody decide to volunteer themselves. Let's see here. Anybody? Well, then Randy. Oh, Amanda, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, Amanda's going to do that.
Gibberish queen.
Somebody to be your interpreter via text, please, via typing.
This was inspired by Amanda's video, so.
Yeah, so Amanda can do it. Anybody?
I mean,
All
if somebody else wants to do it, I don't want to steal anything.
We're going to just get this started. Once you show everybody that it's not painful, we'll get going. So I'm going to add a little bit of a spin on this. Amanda's going to speak gibberish to us based on questions from our viewing audience. And I would like to make her an expert in something. So can anyone name a career that does not yet exist? Anything. You can type it, you can shout it out.
Unicorn wrangler.
A unicorn wrangler. Perfect. So we're going to ask Amanda some questions. She'll respond in gibberish, and Lindsay will translate it into our chat function. So if you can pull up your chat, you can see that there. And if you're on a device that doesn't make that easy, don't worry. It should still be fun either way. All right. So thank you so much for being here on our Zoom chat, Amanda. We know you came from very far away to be here virtually. It's a long trip through the internet wires. But can you first tell us how you fell into the world of unicorn wrangling?
Ja, als je vragen stellen, ja. Ich kann fliegen, ich steigen, fliegen. Ich steigen, fliegen, ich kann singen.
Wow, that is amazing that you have such a great you're such a great mother, and unicorns are, I did not know they were fluffy. They are. Oh, great. I'm sorry. I don't mean to assume I know what you're saying, but oh, and sparkly. That's fantastic. At any point, if anyone has a question for a unicorn wrangler, you can either raise your hand or put it in the chat. Now, how many different kinds of unicorns are there, and do you have to keep them separate? Are they okay to be together?
Oh, als je vliegen, en schiegen do, en vliegen, en schigen, boingen, en je vliegen.
Okay, so I see that something is, there's 10, maybe 10 different colors, but only 2 species. Okay, so that's great. So we have a question. What's the biggest challenge wrangling unicorns?
Als je vliegen, en schigen, boingen, vliegen, en schigen, boingen, en mangen, boingen.
Let's see. Oh, they're very pointy and stubborn, and you smack them, but it looks like you smack them very gently. Smack them, just a little smack. Got it. All right. And we have a couple more questions, and then we might have to move on to another expert. So what do unicorns eat? That's from Kara.
Oh, ze vliegen, en ze maken, en ze vliegen. Vliegen. Zal ik naar vliegen?
Yeah. Rainbows, little parsley on top. I love it. Are they born with horns, or do they grow them?
Oh, ze vliegen.
Oh no, it's still the parsley. So, but yeah, okay. They earn them like Harry Potter earned his wand. Oh, I'm sure there's a huge story in there, but we'll have to probably read your book to learn all of that. So thank you so much for being here. Great. We love talking about unicorns too. Wonderful. Thank you so very much. Jazz hands for you. Thank you. We have a couple more volunteers. Anyone who's like, this sounds like hell, and but you just want to go for it anyway. Stretch some. Maritas will translate. Anyone? As you notice, Amanda, the more she used her hands, the weirder things got. So your gibberish doesn't have to be any good. Randy, another theater person. Yeah. Great.
Sacrificing our theater people right now.
Great. So what should Randy be? Anybody ideas? And a job that does not yet exist. Okay. Rachel, what is your favorite food?
Oh, that's a good one. Who wrote
Broccoli. Broccoli? Okay. So, I see some other Mother Goose Nanny and Space Force. Okay, so Randy, you're going to be a broccoli grower that we're putting on the Space Force team to figure out our agriculture in space.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. All right. Any questions for our space broccoli explorer? First of all, thank you so much for being here. I know the administration is really tough on the Space Force right now, so I know you're very hard at work.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so people are just popping in with these questions about broccoli in space. So what does broccoli taste like in space? So first you said it was tough, but let's see. It's bitter nuance. Wow. And more liquid in space. That's very interesting. It's I did not know space was more humid than Earth. That is, I'm learning things every day. So let's see, how do you grow broccoli in space? I guess let's start at the basics here.
Oh my.
I'm so excited. You have to add, the unicorn poop. Yeah, this is a themed show, so they are building, from unicorns to broccoli. Well, you'll catch on, everybody at home. So we've got to add the unicorn poop for the rich soil, because the soil is lacking in space. It does get taller and stronger. That is wild. Okay. Does it look the same? We know it holds more liquid. Does that change the size or shape? Oh, different colors. That is fascinating. All right. How'd you? Oh, right. So Cherise says, how'd you figure you have to punch the broccoli to make it grow? We didn't, it's like we saw the punching and just so curious about that we need to punch it. The twisting, yeah, it needs a little cajoling. You have one very well-versed translator here. Some beautiful words. This is like poetry. Great. Just like on Earth, only it's more physical. So by physical, do you mean the broccoli is moving? Response to touch and lively. How very exciting. Any last questions for Broccoli Space Force? Any last questions? Let's see if I missed any here.
Can you make me the host again? Question.
Great. Oh, someone just came in. Oh, have you witnessed any other life while you've been experimenting in space?
Kia mama kokoro ka ayanai. Sia mama kogo. Sia baba hayanai. Sia mama ka. Sia nanana kakoriaya. Sia mananaya.
Those insects are large and incredible. Now, that's going to make me not want to go to space just yet, but they're flying everywhere. Oh my gosh. That's, no thank you. It sounds like Florida. So thank you so much for being here. I know you have to get back to work. So we look forward to many space broccoli updates.
All right. All right. They'll jump in here shortly. So the next session here is going to be myself and Stephanie. We're splitting this one. We're going to talk about arts integration. So a lot of you have been to some arts integration seminars. Some of you have not. Some of you have done full artist in residencies at this point. So we're kind of all over the place. But these are going to be 2 strategies that you probably haven't seen yet. And one of the things I want to focus on with this is not just that you can integrate your art into a content area teaching, but that you can integrate it into one of the other arts disciplines. So many of us are broad-ranging artists, right? It's hard to be one type of artist only. So we're pulling from whether we have a musical background, whether we have an interest in dance, whether we use movement-based activities, whether we're into creative writing or poetry or lyrics, whether we're into visual arts, and how we connect all those things, right? Maybe we're into the idea of using different arts, or we're just kind of multi-versed. I think artists don't live in a box, right? So how do we cross over in a comfortable way using multiple disciplines at the same time? And so that's one of the things we're going to look at. And then just if you're not at the stage where you're ready for arts integration yet, that's okay. Just kind of absorb this and put this in the back of your mind. And if you're looking for more ways to kind of engage and use, then put these at the front burner. But so what I'm going to start with is one that is reading images. And so I really enjoy this. It's probably one of my favorite activities because it leaves you open to so many different ways to use it. So can everybody see this? Yes, anybody?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do with you guys is I'm going to go back and forth between screen sharing and not screen sharing. But we're going to talk about Duke Ellington. So we're going to use visual imagery to look at a social studies and a music person, right? So we're going to look at something that could be real mundane. I could hand everybody just a handout and say, read about Duke Ellington, and then let's talk about him. I could say, watch this YouTube video, and then we're going to talk about him. But that's passive learning at its best, right? So we're constantly just, we're reading, and then maybe we respond, right? We're watching, but this is going to involve a lot more cognitive skills and a lot more interaction. So first off, we're going to start with our facial expression. So I want everybody to follow along with me. So repeat after me and say, facial expression. Go.
Facial expression.
One more time. Facial expression. All right, so that's what we're going to look at. So what is a facial expression? Anybody?
How you express emotions.
How you express emotions. So we're going to be looking at things like the eyes and the mouth. So I'm going to reshare here, and we're going to look at this pictures. I'm going to kind of scroll through so you can see them. What do you see that is the same, and what do you see that is different about his facial expressions? Just yell out.
His eyes are open in each shot.
His eyes are open.
His
His lips are, oh, go ahead.
His eyebrows go up in the middle.
His eyebrows are up in the middle.
Sometimes
Looks
he shows
like-
his teeth and sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah, his lips look pursed or he looks like he's grinning.
Okay.
He
So
looks-
he's either serious. Would you say that's serious when he's pursed or angry?
Yeah, just maybe
Pensive.
serious,
Focused.
maybe relaxed.
Thinking.
Yep. He looks happier in the pictures that have music in them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What else do we notice about his face that might tell us about him? That is the same in quite a few and different in maybe one.
Wrinkles,
Wrinkles. What do wrinkles tell us?
age.
His age. So does he seem to have many pictures of him that are very young?
No.
Not many.
Okay. And these are all artistic renderings, right? So this is like the popular aspect. So now that we kind of looked at his facial expression, so we have some ideas. We think that sometimes he is concentrated, I heard. He's smiling, right? He's looking, he's got some wrinkles. What else did we say?
Expressive eyebrows.
Expressive eyebrows. What did we learn about his face? Does he seem like he might be a cheerful person, a pleasant person, an intimidating person,
Jovial.
a jovial person?
Mhm.
Would you be worried about approaching him as a person?
No.
Okay, approachable. So I'm writing these all down, and normally I would be writing these on a lovely whiteboard, but that's just too many things going on in Zoom for me today. So now we're going to move from facial expression to focal point. So everybody, focal point. Join me.
Focal point.
Focal point.
All right, so facial expression,
Facial expression.
Facial expression.
focal point.
Focal
Focal
point.
point.
All right, excellent. So with the focal point, it's not like an artistic focal point. This is where is the person looking and who is looking back at them, right? Where is everybody's eyeballs in the images? Because that's going to tell us a bit about our story. So I'm going to go back up to our top pictures. So focal point, where is he looking?
The audience.
The audience.
Either at us or off to the side.
Okay, add us off to the side.
Focusing on what he's creating down there in the writing with the cigarette.
All right, focused on his work. Oh, the one I didn't write down before was that he seemed like he was smiling when he was with the music. Do you notice that in his focal point with this as well? That his emotion changes depending on where he's looking.
Mm.
Here's a really great one over here. The Who was Duke Ellington. Where are these people looking?
At him.
At him?
Are you talking about the people in the background?
Yeah, those little people, right?
Yeah.
Their
Looking.
instrument.
They're looking at their instruments. So they're really focused on the music and they're kind of taking a cue from him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing in this band one, right? Where's everybody looking?
At the audience.
The
Oh,
dancers are looking at the audience. Where are the musicians looking?
At him.
At him.
At him. So what does that tell us? Why would they be looking at him?
'Cause he's
He's a leader.
He's a leader. Okay. What does a leader in music have a name?
Conductor.
Doctor.
So he could be a conductor. Okay. All right, so coming back, now we've got facial expression, focal point. Now we've got gesture. So join me with your gesture.
Gesture.
Here we go. So facial expression,
Facial
Facial
expression.
expression.
focal point,
Focal point.
gesture. the gesture. Tell me about his body. What is it telling us? What's the same and what's the difference between these images?
He's confident.
Mhm.
Confident. How do we know that?
He's open.
He's open. Right? So when we say something like he's confident, we have to be able to textually back it up. So he's confident. I think that he's confident because blank.
Posture.
Now we're getting into more complex thinking about him.
His body language.
Yes, posture.
His posture. What is his posture? What does that mean?
Well, in the top one, he's on stage and he's in full swing. So
Yes.
you could tell he's someone who does that's into it.
His arms are out. He's standing tall,
Mhm.
right? How do we know he's confident through his posture in these other pictures here?
He's smiling and not looking at the piano while he's playing.
He's not looking at his instrument while he's playing.
Yeah.
That tells you a lot, huh? He really knows those keys. What else do we see about his body?
It seems like the more movement he shows, the happier he is too.
His movement shows joy.
So when he's hunched over in writing, he looks a lot less confident and less happy.
More pensive, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
With all the horns around him, someone could view that as being cumbersome and overwhelming. He's in his element there.
Yeah, he looks so excited, right?
Mhm.
And I would be like dying. All right, so here we go. We're moving on to our next one. We've got facial expression, focal point, gesture. Now we're going to move into clothing. All right, ready? Clothing.
Clothing.
All right, here we go. Facial expression,
Facial expression.
focal point,
Focal point.
gesture,
Gesture.
clothing.
Clothing.
All right, so let's see what his clothes have to share about this individual. Tell me what is the same and what is different about his clothing.
He looks put together.
He looks put together. Why does he look put together? What does that mean?
Groomed.
A jacket and tie.
Jacket and tie.
Who's got a jacket?
Groomed. I like that one. What does groomed mean? What about him is groomed?
His hair, his mustache.
Mm-hmm.
His hair and his mustache.
His nice teeth too.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice teeth. Yes.
But he always has a collared shirt.
Collared shirt.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very
what does that
professional
tell
and
us
serious.
about a person?
He takes his work seriously.
Takes his work seriously?
Dignity.
Confidence.
Huh?
Confidence.
Confidence?
He's successful.
Successful?
Dignified.
Dignified? How about his childhood picture here? This is pretty interesting, right? Because how many kids do you see that look like that as a kid?
Very few.
Very few.
Yeah. I mean, in today's setting, you won't see
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. But even
Yeah.
in the past settings, right?
Yeah. In that setting, normally pictures like that in that setting show the or a person that their status, because not everyone could afford having their pictures.
So he had a status as a youth, right?
Yeah.
Or that's what we're assuming based off of
The picture. Yeah.
this photograph.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about any of these other pictures? About his clothing? Is there anything else that we need to document?
He likes cool colors. Looks like he's wearing blues and purples a lot.
Cool colors.
It's a cool cat.
They're very vibrant colors.
Mm-hmm.
Those are clothes you would get sweaty in.
Oh, you could get sweaty. He doesn't seem to be worried, does he?
No.
Look at him in this jacket with those horns.
Hmm.
I'm like, wow, I would not be so nicely dressed to be lugging equipment. All right, so we're learning some things about this individual, aren't we? Or we're starting to make questions in our mind about who he is and what his story might be. So now we've got facial expression, focal point, gesture, clothing, setting. Better do that smaller so it's in my screen. Ready, and setting. Okay, here we go. Ready? Facial expression,
Facial expression.
focal point,
Focal point.
gesture,
Gesture.
clothing,
Clothing.
setting.
Setting.
So in our setting, what is this going to tell us about this individual? Where is he? What is the same and what is different about where he's located?
He goes wherever the music takes him.
Goes wherever the music takes him.
It's on a stage.
On a stage.
Concert hall or something. Mm.
What was the last one?
I said they all typically seem to be in a concert hall of some sort.
Concert hall.
In close proximity to a piano.
Close to a piano.
Setting doesn't matter on the one where he's smoking. It's all about what he's doing.
Ah, so where is he? What is the setting then?
The dark room, maybe, with one light.
Dark room. What else could that mean? That he's very...
He's focused.
Huh?
Focused.
He's focused. He's in his own head, right?
Mm.
They're representing that he's nowhere but himself.
Yeah.
All right. So, oh, and I like this one. Where is he on this?
A billboard, like an advertisement, or the hall's like, you know, marquee.
Yeah, he's on a building. Right? That's an important setting. And where is he on this?
Magazine.
He's on a magazine. And
He's always looking
where-
out, except for the one where he's writing. He's always looking out. So I feel like the audience is a big part of it too. Like the music and the audience, because he's such a performer.
Uh-huh. And where is he in this one?
On the stage again. Oh, on a book?
He's on a book. And how about this one?
Another book.
Another book. That's interesting, right? Because he's on a building, he's on a magazine, and he's on two books. So what might we learn about him based off of that?
Rather important.
He's rather important. So sometimes the setting can be what's in the frame and what the frame is.
Mm.
All right, so we've got one more. So we've got our focal point, or sorry, our facial expression, our focal point, our gesture, our clothing, our setting, and now we've got our objects. So ready? Objects.
Objects.
All right, here we go. Facial expression,
Facial expression.
focal point,
Focal
Focal
point.
point.
gesture,
Gesture.
Gesture.
clothing,
Clothing.
setting,
Setting.
and objects.
Objects.
Object.
All right, so last look at these pictures. What are the objects that we see that are important in these images?
Instrument. Instruments or
Instruments.
Yep, instruments. Any other objects? Or are we just going with instruments?
Pen and paper.
Pencil and cigarette.
Pen and paper, cigarette. And had I put together more images, if it wouldn't have been cumbersome for the internet viewing, you would have seen him smoking quite a bit more. And what is his instrument of choice?
Piano.
The piano. All right, so at this point, you can start asking students questions along the lines of, who do you think this guy is? What do you think he does? Where do you think he's from? Do you think he's poor? Do you think he's wealthy? And then you ask, why? What makes you think that? I think this because that. I wonder this because I saw that, right? So it's always tying it back into that evidence, just like you would if you were doing text, but they're finding you textual evidence from a picture. Now, as a group, we can have like a board with all our assumptions about this individual, but we've not read a thing, have we? So we don't really know anything about him now. Now is the point when I would hand you the text, right? And I would say, go ahead, and I want you to read through this. We don't have time to sit here and read through all of this, but here's the idea, right? Here's the text, and then you get to read through and find out who he was. Find out more information about this individual. See if you're right and you're wrong. The great part about this is I've done it with students quite a few times, and at this point, they are now invested in this character. They don't know who he was, they don't know anything about him, but now they're curious. And now as they read, they yell across the room, I was right! Oh man, I got that wrong. Who knew? You know? So they have this new interest. And then you can take this idea and you can tie this to any one of your individual disciplines, correct?
Correct.
And then if you want, you can tie it to another subject, but you don't have to. But how much more fun is this as a tool to teach people about a history lesson in your subject?
Yeah,
Which
I
can
love
be
that.
really dry. When they're like, oh gosh, we get to read about another musician today. Oh, we get to read about a dancer today. That's great. I just came here to dance. Right? But it's like, oh, well, this was fun. I got to move. I got to think. It's active participant learning. So that's kind of what I wanted you to get out of this beginning lesson. And I'm going to pass this over to Stephanie, and she's going to take you through a different strategy.
Great. Are you able to make me a host?
You betcha.
Oh, wow. This
The
is
hostess is the mostess.
very exciting.
There you go.
Hi, everybody. I haven't met a lot of you. And just so you know a little bit who I am, I moved here back to the area in January by way of Chicago, where I've been just doing a lot of arts integrated work across the Chicago public school system. And so I'm just going to give you one tool right now. But again, if you ever have any questions, I would love to collaborate with anybody on arts integrated practices. What I'm going to take you through, I called Page to Stage and Back Again. And it's a way you can go back and forth with these subject matters, but it's really good for not only arts integration, but also different learning modalities when dealing with text or movement. So going back and forth through that. And because of time, I'm going to sort of go a little bit probably faster than I might. Let me get here. And just like Carolyn, I'm going to go back and forth a bit. All right, so we would go through what is a gesture. So I would say I might ask the class for any no wrong answers, what do you think a gesture is? So maybe we might get to the definition, a movement of a part of the body, especially a hand or the head to express an idea or meaning. And I'm going to ask the class, and I'm going to ask you all to unmute yourselves to your level of comfortability. So if you're like, I just can't, I totally understand. But anyone, just shout out, what are gestures you see like every day?
Hello.
Hello, the word hello?
Like a wave.
Like a wave.
Shoulder shrugging.
And this can mean a lot of things, right? What's one thing it could mean?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anything else?
I don't.
Blank stares.
I don't care.
Head nod.
There. Here we go.
Dismissive wave.
Get out of here. Talk to the hands.
Yeah.
All of that. Are they always the hand or the head or the upper part of the body?
Now it is because they're all through.
We're in Zoom, so this is becoming a very important part, right? Now, most of these are gestures. Why do you think the gestures mostly come from this part? There's no wrong answers because
We look up a lot.
Huh?
Our eyes are here.
We focus up on the face.
When we meet people, this is what we take in for the most part, especially in Zoom. Any other ideas?
You fall down when you start getting your feet
body.
involved.
Okay, I think also, there's a lot of FedEx trucks delivering things outside my window, so I do apologize. Hoping it's all presents for me. So yes, so we fall down if you look down too much was one thing Caroline said. Anyone else?
The upper body is going to be more expressive.
Our emotions are here, right? So we got our brains and our hearts, and this is what we generally relate to as part of like where we feel and react to. But turning around with your whole body is a really big gesture. And in theater, sometimes we have to take something that can be small, like to something huge, so that people like all the way at the back of the theater can see you. So there's all these degrees of gestures. And you get to be the artist by putting some of these gestures in different parts of your body that you might not. That's what makes us all artists. So then I like to always have visuals. So I might show a visual or two of different ways we do put the whole body. And also note that when you're on stage, your whole body can be seen. So you can also teach an audience that up here you're agreeing with the person that you're talking to, but with the bottom half of your body, you're turning away. So, oh, great, totally, I get it, And that's like two gestures at the same time, so you can be communicating a lot with just a couple movements. So now we're gonna take it to text, and I chose Shakespeare because that is really adaptable and really fun to put in the mouth, as it were. I wouldn't say that in front of the classroom, but you all can handle it, I know. And so I'm gonna ask all of us to just read this to ourselves first. And if you know it and you're like, I know it, that's great. Feel free to shout that out, but mostly read the text to yourselves. And then I will read it out loud, and then we'll all read it out loud together. Okay, so just read it to yourself. And I'm going to move along, but if you're not done reading it to yourself yet, that's okay. We can just roll along with us. I'm going to say it out loud first, and then we'll all say it together. Okay? Me first. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. All together now. Ready? But soft, what light
through yonder
window breaks.
It is the east,
Juliet the sun.
Awesome, great. Now that we said that, we said it a lot. What does anyone recognize it?
Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet, exactly. Juliet's in there, so it was kind of a gimme. Now I'm going to ask a couple questions. So this is what some of the things I would ask. Are there any repeated sounds? So did anyone notice any sounds that came up a lot?
S's.
Some S's. So I would ask we would all go through it together, and I would have everyone exaggerate that sound. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks. It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. So why would all the S's be in there? Anyone have a guess as why you would put a bunch of S's in a sentence?
It's a very soft sound.
Soft and sweet. Very good. Any others repeated sounds? And if you don't find any, that's fine too.
E.
Ease?
Mm-hmm.
East. What other ones?
Oh.
Juliet.
But, saw, oft. We have some good ones. Sun, soft, but, yawn, east. That's great. Now, what about the style? Is it poetic? Is it the kind of words you would see every day?
Elizabethan.
Elizabethan, yes. And what does that mean, Randy?
It means that it was written in Queen Elizabeth's time.
Exactly. So was it written in the 16 or 1500s thereabouts? So different way of style speaking. Would you say it is poetry or not poetry?
It's poetry. It's iambic pentameter.
Oh, there we go. Yes, for our advanced students, the style of poem is an iambic pentameter. That's the rhythm. But look at the words themselves. Are those super fancy words that you don't hear every day, or are they words you kind of could hear in an average day?
You could hear the
Yonder is old.
Hmm?
I would say yonder is not a word I hear every day.
Yonder's a new one.
same with soft in this context.
But soft, right? It's not like, is he saying, but everyone be soft? Or is he saying, what do you think that soft means? It could be, he might be telling himself to be soft. What time of day do we think it is?
Morning.
Because the light is, because we have the east and Juliet is the sun. When can you see light through windows?
At night.
At night. So the light is coming through the window. So that's our clue that it's at nighttime. So if Juliet is this light that's coming through, she is the sun. What do you think Romeo is saying about her?
She brings warmth.
She brings warmth. He might be cold. And if it's nighttime, he might be saying soft, shh. Like even to himself, he's like creeping along, a twig breaks. He's like, oh my gosh, there's the light. There she is. All right, so we would go through this. I'd ask a bunch of questions about syllables and thinking about this style. So we have S sounds, vowel sounds. What might an S sound look like in our bodies? I would love everyone right now to just take a minute in front of your cameras. I'm gonna stand. Feel free to do that where you are. I'm just gonna give you 30 seconds to just play around with all the ways you can do S's, right? So very easily might be just snaky. But we have this Zoom area and we tend to wanna put everything here. I'm gonna challenge you to put it in your knees, or your toes, or your belly. So everyone, 30 seconds, everyone should be moving. Just experiment with all the different ways you can put an S in your body. Okay, I'm literally playing on a timer. Right, I'm not gonna look at you. Everyone just explore. Maybe say the sound. And if we're thinking of it as soft. And now, thinking about those vowels. So does vowels make you feel small, like ooh, or is it oh? So can you make a big movement if you think it's ah, or a small gesture if you think it's little? Here we go. Everyone just experiment. I got some time. So thinking about all the different, I get my leg in here. Could do an S. Oh, that's soft. There we go. And now I would like to have one volunteer who could make one or two gestures that they would give to this sentence. So is there anybody, let me get my grid show up here, or you can just volunteer yourself because, here we go. Here we go. Anyone who would like to just do your gesture, and I'll say the text right before you do it. So there's no wrong gesture. It's just how you think this character and these sounds would go in your body. So one example might be what light through yonder window breaks. It is the east and Juliet is the sun. I might go, because he's like, oh, there it is. And it's up and it's the east. So that would be one of mine. Who would like to show me yours? How about I pick 5 people to do it all at the same time, so it's not so scary. How about, oh, Vince, I'm definitely going to pick on you, and Ed, because I know you, and Amanda and Randy, because you're my theater people, and Caroline. So I'll say the sentence, and then everyone show me your gesture at the same time, and when you're done, just be done. Okay, I'll go first, say the sentence, and when I finish saying it, you do your gesture. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks, it is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Go. Oh, they're all so beautiful. Let's give them a round of applause. So good. And then what I would do for that is then put it back in the text. So have somebody say it while moving, and then not saying it at all and moving, and then seeing what we've learned just by exploring the sounds and putting it to gesture. And you can also go backwards with this. So like if you were doing a physical theater piece or a dance piece, let's say you like you figure out some sort of movement here, and then ask the students what sound might that be? Would that be a sharp sound like a ta, or an ooh, or how would that change it? And then you could start coming up with a poem to go with that, or put poetry into the music. And it's great for students who need to take a moment with the sounds, especially poetry, to see how it feels and how that might change something for you. And again, with time, I'm gonna quickly go through this right here, but and then what can be helpful is I was going, and then I would ask everyone to do it, make sure it includes the whole body and thinking about when and how you breathe, and including that critique process. So asking the students, what did we see in all of those gestures? So was everyone up? I saw a lot of ups. So what does that tell us about the character? Where is the energy located? Were people in the lower body or the upper body? And what does that tell us? And how would we put this all back into the concept of character or story? Did we learn from that? And then again, with time, this is a quote from Macbeth. So seeing how the same concept of light, how it changes for these two extremely different characters. And this has a lot of stars, fires, desires, and how that soft S and the hard Z, and what that tells us, and what it makes us feel, how much a sound can inform the people around us about how we are feeling, how we feel about them, and what we want, our desires. The handout that I included before, you'll see in that I actually included a very dry piece of text. It's part of the Declaration of Independence. So you can see how this can be brought into a history lesson in a variety of ways. So I'm sorry, like rushing through this a little bit here at the end. So I do apologize but if you have any questions about that, I'm definitely here from you.
I think the great thing about that is think about how that ties into the other disciplines, right? So it comes from a theater perspective, but how does that connect? I mean, it connects beautifully to dance, right? I see dance teachers do this all the time, of thinking through the body and the words and the ideas. But this also ties into, what if you're writing lyrics in music, right? Or what if you're trying to express a certain feeling or a certain sound in a song, and you look at the literature and figure out how that ties in. Or art, right? If you're expressing these ideas, then you could be doing gesture drawings and tie into those, right? What does that look like as a drawing, as a person on a page?
And I often like to do this where nobody actually ends up showing it individually for those students that are terrifying to do that. But it is a great way to get them out of their seats, always.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming. I hope you enjoyed the day. Before you go, I'd love for you to put in the chat section, because we're hoping to be able to do some more of these. Some of your comments and critiques and what you would like to get more of as we present more PDs. Like, where do you feel you need some assistance as teachers? Where's your interest lie? And that gives us somewhere to kind of start from and help provide those things, so that you're not like, oh, that's not what I was hoping for.
It would be helpful to know what you guys benefited from today too. There was a lot of cool stuff that was, shared today. So it'd be cool to hear like what is something you want to put into practice, or what was a good connection for you to make today. And I just want to say it's like so awesome to see all of your faces again. Really, you guys. So it's been really cool. So I'm glad you came.